Capitalism is destroying humanity. Simple statement, yet one that very few seem willing to make. Even among those that realize the truth, most are hesitant to call this fatally flawed economic model for what it is. Capitalism is evil. Skeptical? I will explain. Here are 3 definitions of evil, according to the Funk and Wagnall's standard encyclopedic dictionary of the English language. Number 1, morally bad, wicked. Number 2, causing injury or any other undesirable result. Number 3, marked by or threatening misfortune or distress. Now I will give you the corresponding definitions of capitalism. Number 1, an economic system in which the means of production and distribution are mostly privately owned and operated for private profit. Number 2, the possession of private capital and its resulting power. I shall henceforth attempt to correlate these definitions in a manner that will clearly demonstrate that capitalism and evil are intrinsically linked. There is one more definition that I feel needs to be thrown into the mix. This is the link between capitalism and evil. Greed. Unlike so many other words, greed seems to have only one definition. Here it is. A selfish and grasping desire for possession, especially of wealth. There is no scenario in which capitalism promotes the well-being and further evolution of humanity. Vampires do exist. They are the wealthy, and they are not mortal. They die, most assuredly, but their wealth and influence live on through their pallid and incestuous offspring. All of the definitions of evil come into play when you probe the history of capitalism. Over 500,000 people have died from mesothelioma and asbestosis in the United States alone. Tragically, even that staggering figure is probably low. The executives at Johns Manville, W.R. Grace, ExxonMobil, Dow Chemicals, who absorbed Union Carbide, DuPont, Bendix, now Honeywell, the Travelers, Metropolitan Life, Dresser Industries, now masquerading as Halliburton, National Gypsum, Owens Corning, General Electric, Ford, and many others are responsible for presiding over the slow death of all these people. All of this done in the name of profit. How could this be viewed as anything but evil when the first case of death due to asbestos was documented in 1900? It took until 1989 for asbestos to be banned. I can only guess at the amount of money made by these evil men who had full knowledge of the blood that was on their hands. This is what capitalism breeds. Morally bad, wicked, there can be no doubt. Causing injury or other undesirable result, you do the math. Marked by or threatening distress at every turn. This is what happens when profit is king and people are subjugated. There are those that say we should export this vile Ponzi scheme masquerading as democracy to every corner of the world. Nothing could be more detrimental to the future and progress of humanity as a whole. There is evidence worldwide of how the export of so-called American values is destroying communities and even entire cultures. The Pellis Group, which owns several huge sugar plantations in Central America, is even now beginning the long process of denial, which any for-profit company engages in when faced with potential liability. Dr. Carlos Orantes recently found that a quarter of the men in his region suffer from CKD, or chronic kidney disease. Most of these men show no signs of high blood pressure or diabetes, the most common causes of CKD elsewhere in the world. Dr. Orantes concludes that the major cause of kidney damage is exposure to toxic pesticides and herbicides routinely used in agriculture in South America, even though they have been banned in the United States, Europe, and Canada. This is what American foreign policy is aimed at exporting: a fictional veneer of democracy with an underlying callous and impassive control by corporate entities. This is what all free-thinking people who have courage and will must join together to strive against. The corporate stranglehold of American politics must be broken. The ridiculous economic models which allow for the rape of the vast majority of the populace must be dismantled. The spoils of unearned inherited wealth must be divested. First step in solving any problem is recognizing and clearly stating the problem. Capitalism is our adversary, and we, the people, must rise up and ring out its death knell.